She's back.
Brian Little.
Japan. Today on Monson Made This, I have brought my mom, Tony, back in the kitchen with me by popular demand / request. So today I am going to be showing her and making her cook with me 3 vegan keto inspired recipes. I'm not here to defend keto or to talk about what keto is, but a lot of people out there are choosing the keto diet in order to lose weight, so I am giving some recipe suggestions on things that you can do to do it in a vegan way so you're not harming any animals or the planet. And I have 3 recipes for you. The first one is going to be a sort of a take on a bulletproof coffee, but we're going to make kind of a bulletproof green tea. And I'm going to make a snack, which is what I'm calling my Vegan Keto Doritos. And the third and final recipe is going to be a nice hearty zucchini noodle pasta with an avocado and greens pesto. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to make here is the Bulletproof Coffee inspired tea. So we're going to be using green tea powder. So and we're going to be doing everything in the magic bullet. So I'm going to just instruct her to do everything while I talk. So go ahead and put the green tea in here. We're going to be making a double batch of this. Of course, I'll have the full recipe posted, linked below, but we're just putting in some green tea powder here. To that, we're going to be adding some cashews. Now, Bulletproof Coffee is normally made with butter. Vegan versions just have coconut oil. Today we're going to be adding some of our fats with cashews, and that's going to just make it a nice creamy kind of a latte consistency without having to add the oil. And like I said, we're going to make a double batch, so we're going to be adding 2 cups of boiling water to this. If you wanted to truly boost up the fat content, which is really important on a keto diet, again, I'm not endorsing anything, you could add some MCT oil to this or coconut oil. It'll add some nice flavor if you use coconut oil, but because we just don't want to drink oil today, we're not going to be adding this. So this is pretty much all that we're putting in here. So if you want to put the lid on. Now, we are using boiling water here in our NutriBullet. My suggestion is to just like let it go for a second, open it, let it go for a second, open it, so that you don't have an explosion. So let's blend. So this has been blending for probably close to maybe 45 seconds. Again, I stopped it every once in a while. If you're using a blender that you have the regular blender that has some way for like air to escape, you don't have to worry about stopping and starting it like this. But I have you ever had a NutriBullet explode on you?
No, not yet.
It's awful. So in order to avoid it exploding, I just open it, just let the steam out a little bit. Yeah. So here is our bulletproof green tea latte, and I'm just going to pour us a little bit here into these cups. I was going to maybe add some stevia to it for sweetness, but I think the cashews add a nice bit of sweetness. So
You hot?
yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah.
You like it?
Yes, very good.
It's creamy. It's not too sweet, but it has just like a nice, it's just like a nice green tea latte flavor. You drink a lot of green tea, right?
Yeah, I love green tea. And especially this matcha tea.
Yeah, it just tastes really fresh. And again, if you're really trying to get your fats up on a keto diet, adding that MCT oil or the coconut oil will really help you do that. The green tea is nice for energy, keeps you going. And if you're not a coffee drinker, this is a good way to go about it. I will have the macros posted in the recipes for this, so if you're interested in how many fats and carbs and everything are in each of these things that I'm making today, then you'll be able to see that. So cool. Well, this will give us the energy to make our next recipe, which is my Vegan Keto Doritos. So let's get set up for that. Chips are one of our favorite foods. It's definitely a problem. We both love chips to the point of not being able to stop eating them once we open up a bag of chips. So what's your favorite chip? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, no, they're just all good, pretty much.
I'm currently in love with the all dressed up Ruffles. That's my current guilty pleasure. But when I was trying this keto experiment, I decided to create a snack that was just like chips. So that's what I'm calling my Keto Doritos, just because it has a nice rhyme and sounds good. This is,
It sounds very good.
It is good. So this is kind of inspired also by recipes I've seen before where you take sheets of nori and put some type of rice flour mixture and seasoning on it and you bake it and you get kind of a crispy nori thing. But I'm going to be doing this so that it's keto friendly, higher in fat, lower in carbohydrates. So we're going to be using tahini as our kind of base, and then we're going to be seasoning it up here. So I'm going to have my mom, again, just like last time, assemble it. So go ahead and add some nutritional yeast to the tahini.
The whole thing?
All of it.
Okay.
That's just about a tablespoon, and there's probably 2 tablespoons of tahini in there. Let's go ahead and add some seasonings. She's going to start with some ancho. Just go ahead and put a decent amount in there. And I also have some chili lime seasoning. That's probably pretty good. Some chili lime seasoning from Trader Joe's, which just adds a slight bit of acidity. That's probably good. Yep, and some spice and seasoning. This is also already salted, so we're not going to add any extra salt here. The what are these called? Hemp hearts. These are going to go on the top. This just adds a nice bit of fat and protein as well. But it's time to mix this up. So go ahead and start stirring. And our goal here is the tahini is really thick, but we're going to be adding a little bit of water at a time. And we just want it to be thin enough so that we can brush it onto these sheets of nori. And actually, there's one more thing that I want to add. Forgot about this. It is, yeah, we'll be adding some more water. Some Bragg's liquid amino. This adds some good flavor as well. Just about maybe a teaspoon. It'll emulsify, it'll turn white, it's fine. So go ahead and give it a taste to see if it's seasoned, if it's salty enough, has enough spices. It's not going to taste just like a Dorito, but...
No, but it does.
It does?
Yeah,
Good to know.
the flavoring's pretty good.
So, thanks. I'm just going to move these aside. And we are going to now the goal is it's still pretty thick, and we don't want it to be too thin because it's going to be drying out in the oven, which I already have my oven set to about 350 or 325 on convection. And we want it to be a little bit thick and not too watery because we want it to dry out pretty quickly. We don't want it to take forever in the oven. So I have 2 sheets of nori here, and we're going to brush this on, and we want to get it basically from wall to wall. You can be generous. This is enough for... Be generous. This is enough for 2 of these nori sheets. Now, does anybody remember Shrinky Dinks? Do you remember Shrinky Dinks?
No.
Shrinky Dinks are like it's like a thing that little kids color. I think you can use colored pencils.
Yeah, they were plastic, and then you put them in the oven or something.
Yeah, it's like a thin plastic,
shrunk.
and then you put it in the oven, and it like shrinks up and gets hard, and you can make like ornaments and stuff. So these kind of remind me of Shrinky Dinks because when they're in the oven, they kind of shrink up, and so even though the sauce may have some brush strokes in it, and maybe it's not super thick, it will concentrate. But she's doing a great job, actually.
Can you go over the edge a little bit?
Yep, it's okay to go over the edge. I'm having her do this on a non-stick copper mat, which I put into my oven. You could do it on parchment paper or whatever, but it's good to have a nice non-stick surface. Talk to the camera.
Too much. Too much information. Okay, tell me when. If we added a little bit more salt to it, does this have a little extra, I think? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And just lightly?
Yep.
I can get it out there.
So she's just adding a bit more of the chili lime seasoning just to add a bit more salt and flavor to it. And you can see on this one here, it's already starting to roll up, and she's being very generous.
Yeah, I want that Dorito taste.
And I'm
Nacho
adding
cheese.
so then these are the hemp hearts, and again, this is just for some added fat and some protein, just to make this a little bit more of a kind of a complete dish. All right, so this is going to go into the oven. Like I said, 350 or 325 on convection. Check it after about 10 minutes. It should be done. You want it to be dry all over and pretty crispy. So let's put it in the oven. We're going in the baby one. We're setting up now for the zucchini pesto, which is essentially zucchini noodles with an avocado-based pesto sauce. So just getting everything set up to make that. I'm gonna rinse the zucchini and get them ready to be spiralized. But we have walnuts instead of like a pine nut. We have nutritional yeast for some cheesiness. So the avocado, and we're really gonna boost up the nutrition with some greens. That's pretty much the recipe, so I'm gonna rinse these off. I'm keeping an eye on our keto Doritos inside of the oven, but while those are cooking up, we're going to make some zucchini noodles here. This is her first time using this spiralizer, so we're going to see if it works. Also, this surface isn't the best for these little sticky feet, so we'll see if we can do it. My trick, and I talk about this in my air fryer video, is 6 turns and 1 back turn. And what that does is it separates the noodles so you don't have a bunch of big, long ones. But 6 is just my sort of neurotic. I don't think there's anything to that number.
What if I like 8 better?
Then do 8. The point is that if you go too long with the noodles and then you have a big chunk at the end later, I just think it's easier to do this little back pedal motion, and it just kind of separates it and makes it a lot easier. And we're going to be spiralizing 2 whole zucchinis. I personally think this is enough for 1 person. It's probably better if 2 people eat it, but it's a really super delicious, healthy dish that you can indulge on. So that's 1/2. All right. So we'll just let that go on the cutting board. Do you want to do the remaining?
Sure.
Just let it pile up here. While she's working on the noodles, I am going to do the pesto. And I'm going to be using the magic bullet again for this. You could use a food processor if you would rather. And I'm also using a smaller container here just because it's less, you're doing great. Less volume for the food to get sort of lost in at the base, and it keeps things closer to the blade. Using a large avocado. If you have a smaller one, use the entire thing, but I'm just going to use half of this large one. So you said you've never used this type of spiralizer before. You have like the pencil sharpener version?
Yeah, just that little one that you have to turn it yourself. It works very good, but it's just...
After your experiences with this, do you prefer the pencil sharpener version or this one?
This one, if it was a little more stationary, it's kind of wobbly, so
yeah.
It was sticking better to the surface.
So I have a half of an avocado in here, and I'm going to be adding some walnuts. These are a nice source of fat, protein, and it's kind of taking the place of the pine nuts. A little bit of red pepper flake, hopefully she's okay with that.
Yeah.
Using some pink salt, a little bit of Italian seasoning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I was wondering how the zucchini's going all over the place.
As I said, this is not really a traditional pesto at all, but it does have a really great kind of a pesto-y flavor. For the cheesiness of it, because we're not using Parmesan cheese, adding nutritional yeast. Big container of greens here. You could use just spinach if you wanted. This is what's called super greens. And I'm going to use just a pretty big handful of that.
Yeah, this goes a whole lot faster than by hand.
In there. Now we have a decision to make at this point. I'm going to add some Bragg's for seasoning, but you're going to need a little bit of liquid to thin this out. I'm going to be using some olive oil today. If you wanted to keep this oil free, You don't have to use the olive oil. You can just add a little bit of water, but if you're keto, you're trying to get your fats up, a little bit of olive oil would be nice. Plus, I like the flavor, so I'm gonna put probably just about a tablespoon of olive oil in here. It is done, and still quite thick, which is exactly what we want. So, this has remained quite thick, which is exactly what we want because zucchini noodles have a tendency to release quite a bit of liquid. She was asking if we're going to cook these. No, we're going to leave it completely raw. You could call it a salad, but today we're calling it zucchini noodles with avocado pesto. I'm going to get as much of this in here as I can, and she is going to toss with the tongs as best that she can. And we're going to use all of this. One thing that we did also was the tails of the zucchini that were left over from the spiralizer. We just cut them into thin little discs and tossed them in here with this. Thank you. I'm just gonna
put your finishing touches on it. Excuse me, Taffy.
Of course, the puppies are at our feet. I did mention it also, but our Doritos are finished. They're just kind of hanging out, just finishing their drying out process. But yeah, these noodles do look beautiful, evenly coated. So I'm going to pull the Doritos out. We'll cut them up, and then we're gonna do a taste test of this stuff and see if she likes it.
Yeah.
I have taken these out of the oven and I'm going to cut them up, and I'm just using this large cleaver to do so. You could use a pizza cutter or your favorite knife. And I'm cutting them into little squares, and then I'm cutting them into triangles because what are these?
Doritos.
Doritos. As I said earlier, I will have the calories and macros for these in with the recipe that will be on monsonmadethis.com, and is always linked below. Here we are at my, and hopefully your, favorite part of the entire show. Yes. It's our taste test. We already tried the green tea. Cheers. Ben suggested maybe doing this iced, which I agree would be really good.
Yeah.
It's just so
creamy.
So creamy. It really is. It's just, the cashews turn into cashew milk, and it just is a nice rich latte. And again, it's a nice alternative for, wait, we're waiting on this. A nice alternative to a Bulletproof coffee. So let's try our snack. This is our Vegan Keto Doritos. This is portioned for one person, if you wanted. Again, we have a difficult time saying no to chips, so.
For a normal person, but not us.
Yeah, if you're like us, you read the calories and multiply it by servings because you're probably gonna eat the whole thing. So let's go ahead and give these a try. They are pretty stiff, so cheers. I can call your food salty now.
Yeah, there you go.
You like them?
I do, actually. I think it's the crunch and everything that makes it, you know, just like a chip.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of flavoring, too. It's really good.
The tahini is really, just like, you don't think it's too salty? We put a lot of seasoning on top, which is great, but it does have that, like, chip Dorito. Do you think the nori is too strong?
Mm-mm.
Like, I don't think I would offer these to Ben because he's not really a big fan of nori, but...
Yeah, you can definitely taste it, but it's not overpowering.
It's there, but it definitely has that, like, that deep savoriness from the tahini, plus all the seasonings, the nutritional yeast. It's like, would you call it cheesy?
Yeah, it actually does taste cheesy. I'm surprised.
So
but
good.
Yeah, I could eat that whole dish.
I think it's less than like 300 calories for that, but again, if you're looking at keto macros, it's really high in fat, and that's what you're looking for in a keto diet.
Not eating fast enough.
It's a first. We both have a problem with eating too fast too. It's hereditary. All right, the last thing that we are going to try is she also suggested maybe dipping these in guacamole, which is kind of what we've created here. Before we taste it though, I'm just gonna add a little bit of this vegan parm. I'll post a link in the recipe for this. I have it on my channel. It's basically just, I think this one is sunflower seeds, and nutritional yeast and some seasoning. So let's put that on there.
Okay.
Let's taste it.
Mm-hmm. It's good.
I think maybe a little bit of garlic, but
Yeah.
I haven't added any because things like onion and garlic can actually add quite a bit of carbohydrates to a dish. So I was a little bit cautious of this, but I think that if you're not worried about that at all, that definitely some garlic would be nice. But what do you think?
Oh,
It's creamy.
really, it's very creamy, and
Does it read too much like guacamole, or is it?
I can definitely taste the avocado. And like I say, if it had maybe a little bit of garlic, might bring out a little more of the pesto flavoring. Then it's pretty good.
It also doesn't have any basil in it. We're using the greens, but I still think it's so good, so savory, and it's just one thing I noticed about this like keto experiment that I was on was that the foods are really rich and satisfying, and you're looking for higher fats. I find that I'm a little bit more satisfied with higher fats. So even though you're just eating a bunch of zucchini here, you still feel pretty satisfied afterwards. So would you make these again?
Yeah, I like that it's crunchy too. Usually when you do noodles, zucchini noodles, you cook them, and
Do you normally cook yours?
I usually do, and I like
How do you
them.
cook them?
I fry them in the frying pan with. I like get a lot of the water out, and then just put maybe a little oil, light oil.
There's a recipe on my favorite vegan YouTube channel, Monson made this, for air fried zucchini noodles.
Oh yes, that.
I
I don't have an air fryer.
Christmas present. You can tell we're related. Noodles, I have to say, we were talking yesterday about like me starting to cook. Noodles were probably one of the first things that I ever cooked. Ramen.
Sorry, mouthful.
It's a compliment.
It's really good, and I was getting a little hungry. So.
Well, all right, we need to finish eating this because we're hungry. It's 2 in the afternoon and we haven't eaten really today, and because I was making her wait to film this video. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Mom, for being here and being in my videos twice. Such a great response from the last one. We brought you back. So thank you for watching. Thank you for everything. Thank you for all of you new subscribers. I'm up over 7,000 now, and my channel seems to be growing really well, and it's because all of you that have subscribed. So thank you to those of you that have. The subscribe button is below if you have not yet subscribed. Like this video if you like it. I do have links to a Patreon and a PayPal account below if you do want to send me a little bit of money to help fund this channel. It's greatly appreciated, no pressure. But thank you to those of you that have already and those of you that will in the future. I will be back next week with another recipe video. We're not sure exactly when this will come out, but I will have links to my week of eating on this vegan keto experiment, so I'll have that below as well. But we're going to Veg Fest. I think by the time this video already comes out, we'll have been to, not Veg Fest, what is it called? You're not going.
I'm not going.
Vegan Street Fair. So that video might come out between this and that, but I'm rambling now. Have a great week. I will see you next time with another recipe video. Bye.
Bye.